Good evening, Bulldog fans. This is Coach Earl Claiborne with your post-game report. Tonight, the Bulldogs came up a little short as we dropped a close one, 54-51, to the Magnolia Bulldogs. The game was very close throughout. The Bulldogs jumped out to a 19, or the Waller Bulldogs jumped out to a 19-12 lead in the first quarter. Then the Bulldogs from Magnolia roared back in the second quarter with outscoring the Waller Bulldogs 20-4. Coming out the third quarter, the Waller Bulldogs roared back, outscoring the Magnolia Bulldogs 17-2. And then in the final stanza, the Magnolia Bulldogs outscored the Waller Bulldogs 20-11 to end up with a 54-51 victory. Leading scores for the Waller Bulldogs was Jackson Mays with 29, followed by Jalen Duncan with 16. The Bulldogs will return to action on Friday as we travel to College Station for a 5 o'clock for the JV and a 6:30 tip-off for the varsity. See you at the ball game. Go Bulldogs.
It's the radio guy, Mike Prince, and welcome to the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. We have with us a person that we want to say that was MIA. And that's none other than Coach Sandy Pugh. How you doing today, Coach?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mike. Doing great.
Well, it's good to hear your voice. You guys have really almost been somewhat stuck in the mud with all the COVID protocol issues and concerns. Let's first get up to speed on how things on the front right now with Prairie and University Panthers women's basketball.
We are on the court practicing, preparing for our first regular season game. We've had, as you say, stuck in the mud due to COVID protocols, and you know it's kind of been a general theme around the country, cancellations and disappointment. But the kids are safe and the staff is safe, so that's the most important thing. So, but we're ready to go now. I mean, we're testing almost daily, minimally 3 times a week. Some days, sometimes 4, depending upon what needs to happen. The PCR, the antigen, we're familiar with all of the lingo.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, the testing that you're doing, these are the rapid tests or they're the normal procedure tests?
Normally, there's a kiosk on campus that we test. It's that when we do the swab, the PCR test, and we do that one 3 times a week when the kiosk is available, and then we do the rapid test when the kiosk is not available in-house, and so that's worked really well for us.
Very good, very good. Well, it's good to hear that you guys are staying on top of things. You've had to mix and match your schedule multiple times. So what are the latest scheduled events coming up on the horizon for Panthers basketball?
Well, we scheduled, we had a game on Monday that we ultimately had to cancel because our policy is we have to test 3 times and it can't be on consecutive days. So we ended up having to cancel because that wasn't, there was no way that could happen. And then we scheduled a McNeese game just last week. So that game is this Wednesday at 2 p.m. Then we leave immediately and we head down to Rio Grande Valley and we play in their tournament, and then we take a hiatus a couple days for Christmas, and then we come back and we play on the 29th. And that game has not been confirmed, so I'm hesitant to say, but we're trying to get one scheduled for the 29th. And then we go down to Baton Rouge and to Alcorn.
Okay, now the game scheduled for the 29th, are you at liberty to say who you're trying to get that game scheduled with, or is it first come, first serve?
I'm hesitant to say because, that could change. It is, the contract hasn't been finalized. So until that happens, it's a moot point of who. But, but we are actively trying to schedule an additional game there, we lost. Trying to pick up games because, you want your kids to get into a rhythm, especially before conference. and in a comfort zone in terms of playing and execution and timing, and so it's hard when they don't have any games and they don't see opponents. We don't have the luxury of having even male practice players. Everything is just playing against yourself. So it can become a little monotonous, and in our case, it's erratic because we were practicing, then we weren't, and then we were practicing, and we weren't. So it's definitely been an interesting ordeal in terms of perseverance and stay focused and keeping the kids in tune and on their grind, and that's a lot of disappointment for kids. If you are 18, 19 and you're not allowed to do something you love, they kind of take it as punishment. You have to really talk them through it and get them to understand it from a safety aspect of, these guidelines and protocols are put in place to protect everyone. You, staff, your family, because they still engage with, on occasion their mom or whatever, and you definitely want to make sure grandma is safe and you're not bringing something home. So we want to err on the side of caution to keep the kids safe.
Absolutely. And I know it's a strain, and it's been discussed more recently than in times past, but the mental strain that's involving all parties, not just the student athlete, but the coaching staff, support staff, fans, parents. It is a mental strain, and the load appears to get heavier and heavier each day. How are you dealing with that, Coach?
One day at a time. It's kind of funny because in our staff meeting, we're sitting there talking about how to keep each other off the ledge. So it's like, we just communicate, express yourself. We allow our kids to express themselves and talk it through and talk about it and come up with strategies. We do a lot of Zoom calls when we're, on the contact tracing or whatever. We've been fortunate, we haven't had one kid, test positive, but we've been fortunate for that, and it's a testament to the kids and, their focus in trying to do what we're asking of them. And so we just want to, every day we tell them how awesome they are, and we know how lucky we are to have this quality group that we have here representing pvamu women's basketball, and we just have to talk about it,
Kennedy Paul, Prairie A&M University. My number is 23. I am a forward and a center for women's basketball, hometown, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Major is biology. Favorite player is LeBron James. Person of influence is my mom. She's my biggest supporter. Describe yourself in one word. Funny. Yeah.
We're on the line right now, the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline, talking to head basketball coach of the women's program, Coach Sandy Pugh. Now, Coach, with this pandemic that we've been dealing with now for almost a year, it's hard to believe it's been going on this long, do you find yourself having to hit reverse sometimes in dealing with people with shorter fuses, quick to respond or go off on a deep end, and under normal circumstances you would have to check somebody, but do you find yourself kind of reversing on that at this stage?
You know what? Everyone has just been great, in terms of, I think everyone recognizes that everybody's stressed, and when everyone's stressed, you tend to give everyone more room to maneuver. So I think that's part of it. I just think that, the talking and the community and everybody understanding, not just here at Prairie View, but my colleagues, coaches in the conference, coaches at other schools all around the conference, the country that I'm a member of a group with, and everyone has just been so amazing and giving of their time and anything that they're doing to assist their teams to, help each other. So, I guess it just shows the spirit of our country and how it traditionally, when things happen that affect us, we just circle a wagon. We tend to come together and put our heads together and, and hold hands and pray for one another and try to do whatever we can to assist. I just think that's just the American way. So, we haven't really had, I'm not going to sit here and say it's never happened, but, but for the most part, everyone has just been outstanding and more than gracious and willing to help.
Yes, ma'am, no doubt. And I might add, if you don't mind, Coach, not only is it the American way, but it also shows the power and the influence as well as the importance of athletics. So it's a leader amongst leaders that's showing people that this is how things can get done, despite your race, creed, sexual orientation, sexual preference, all that kind of stuff you can throw out the window when it comes to athletics, because it's about bringing people together for one common cause. And in this case, we're talking about victory, but it's more than just the victory of me outscoring my opponent, but it's learning how to deal with different and various attacks that come physically, emotionally, and mentally.
Well said, Mike. I mean, that you hit it on the head. I mean, that is so true. And it's kind of funny because people who don't understand athletics, who've never really been a part of it, have no clue just how awesome athletics has been for, in my life and in my kids, my team life, my staff, and anyone who's ever been affiliated with athletics on any level, they get that.
Yes, ma'am. Now, speaking of the team, we've been having a blast introducing women's basketball team to our listening audience, some characters and personalities all throughout the different deal. Man, these children are just, can I say it affectionately, some of them are just flat out goofy. But it's a good goofy, man, and it has really been entertaining to see them. And for those who have not, just check us out daily. We pop them up throughout different episodes, and as a matter of fact, we're going to be doing some more intense as the season begins to open up. But when you look at this thing, you're finally getting ready for your X's and O's. Of course, the importance of your non-conference game or to put rotations together, see who works well, see what type of schemes come into life versus going through the theory of practice. But you open up with Alcorn and Southern. And we already know the storied past that you have with Southern University. And I know you're going to give me the politically correct answer that it's just another game, it's the next game. But I know the real Sandy Pugh. I know the competitor, Sandy Pugh. And any time she gets to face her opponent in the case of the blue and gold, especially if she gets to go back home to Louisiana, it's always a little extra vroom vroom in the engine. Is that right? It is what it is in terms of it's competition. I mean, it's what we do, it's what we love, and Carlos is my dear friend. We talk every week about everything, family, past laughs, we're close, and it's always good to go home. I'm a boot girl, so going home, get me some food and get stock up on my spices, that type of thing. But I'm excited about the game. I think it's going to be a great matchup for us. The last time we played them, we were shorthanded at the point guard, and I thought still had a chance to win that game. And so we want to build off of that. We got the core of that group back. KP, Diana, Ken Hurd. They've really been working hard. Diana has greatly improved over the summer, and KP is playing at a whole nother level. So we're excited about going in and competing and getting the conference going. This conference is going to be amazing. I mean, I'm watching some of these teams, and,
what Don is doing at UAPB, what Tamika is doing over there. I mean, someone made the comments like, man, this conference is really, really going to be outstanding. I was like, yeah, top to bottom. I mean, there are no slouches in this league. Everyone is extremely competitive. We've beaten a lot of D1 opponents in our preseason, those of us who've had an opportunity to play. And so I'm just excited to see what all happens. Hopefully my team can stay healthy and we can continue to grow as a unit because, we only return a handful of kids. So we had a lot of new people we're trying to incorporate. The NC2A is ruling on Wednesday about the transfer. And if they rule in favor of allowing transfers to be eligible immediately, then Geraldine Smith, who, 6'1" lefty, will be eligible immediately. And, she's already gone home for Christmas, so because she wasn't eligible. So and we were getting ready to travel. But, hey, she got to come running if. I
was going to say, Coach, do you have a car on standby and say, come on, baby, let's get it going. Now let's get it going. I do know so well.
Hey, she was like, man, Coach, man, me and my mom are hopeful. I was like, you and your mom. Me and the rest of the team, because she was dropping 20 a game.
I know so well. And so we need that 20 and some to be added over here. Of course, we're talking right now with Coach Sandy Pugh of the Prairie A&M University women's basketball program. Coach, we have the preseason picks, and someone has to be picked first, someone has to be picked last, and it's all, in my opinion, to draw up conversation, keep the interest going. When you look amongst your peers, and they have you, I believe, picked at the 5th spot. When you see that mentally versus knowing what you have in the know and in the now, are you okay with that preseason projection? I know you're shooting for the stars, but how do you receive that number 5 spot in the preseason pick?
Well, first of all, I've always questioned why they even do that. Predicted order of finish, because the bottom line, most of these coaches vote for the predicted order of how you finished last the previous season. So with that being said, I mean, they do that every year because there's no way to predict that based upon you don't know what people sign, and in some cases you're not that familiar with the different players and so forth. So I've never liked that predicted order of finish, so I don't put any stock into it whatsoever. Anytime my team takes the floor, I expect to finish first. And that's our grind, that's our focus. We talk about winning championships. We practice cutting the nets down. We do all the things that a championship-minded team does. And I think that this team, if we can stay healthy, and if I can get these young post players to step their game up and begin to play at a higher level, especially in terms of rim protecting and finishing around the rim, I think we can be in that hunt. But it's going to be, you're literally looking at 6 teams that are capable of winning the regular season. And so that's unheard of. I've been in the league now over 20 years, and I've never seen that before. And talking to coaches who were here even before I got here, they've never seen that. They've said traditionally you might have 3 teams capable of winning the regular season title, but never 6 or possibly 7. So it's a great, the energy behind women's basketball, I hope the fans come out and support once COVID is over, or, we can ensure safety. But I just hope the fans come out and really appreciate, the brand of basketball that the SWAC is putting on the floor and the product. And I hope the ESPN recognizes it and begin to give us more opportunities to showcase our schools online, and not just because we're happening happen to be playing a Power 5, but, put the Texas Southern PV game on there, put the Southern PV game on, put the Alabama A&M and the Alabama State games on, because, the brand of basketball there, the intensity, the rivalries, they're there. And so we deserve to have our games out there on more than just a local platform or a streaming, but to be out there, so all over the country so people can see and recognize that we're playing a high level over here.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you no more than what you just stated on that very fact, because it's always, especially, and I know I'm partial being a product of the conference, that it's always been a unique and special brand of play, and not just in women's basketball, but in athletics as a whole. And it's about time that we, as they say, wave our own banner and say, hey, we got game 2. Maybe that should be a good thing. We got game 2. What you think about that?
We got game 2. I like it.
We're talking with Coach Sandy Pugh on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Coach, I know it's been a very challenging all season for you on this season, just as well as your counterparts, and you can't wait to get back into the spirit of competition. But when you look at this overall body of work, and I am excited, this is year 3, I say this is the year of turning the corner, and I'm going to see it. You don't have to see it, but this 2 years prior to year 3, you have to kind of almost like go into a garden and do all the weed pulling and tearing away stuff that's going to choke out the vegetables or the fruit that you're trying to plant. That can be very intense, and it can be frustrating at times, but are you starting to see now that as you got majority of your weeds out, that your garden rows are lined up and looking like this is a Sandy Pugh garden now?
You know what, Mike? It definitely is getting to that point. You can see it in the kids. I'm gonna tell you, I'm so excited to come to work every day. I'm so excited to be on the court every day. And a lot of coaches will tell you, when you can have the best team, you can be the number 1 team, but if those kids are not buying in or you're constantly pulling and dragging, it can drain you as a coach very quickly. But when you have outstanding people who have incredible energy, we like to use the term, give me some juice, and so every day, they bring me some juice every day. And so, and that juice is contagious. And, so that's this team. They're great. Like you said, they're goofy, but they're fun group. They're fun to be around. They're fun to coach. They listen. They're in tune. They're hungry. They want to learn. They love being around each other, and they're good teammates. They're big sisters. I mean, they're a special group, and when you have a special group, I think you have an opportunity for special things to happen. So I just feel some days I'm just overwhelmed with blessings, that I get to do this, and I'm grateful, and I get to do it at such a fantastic school in such an awesome location. And I mean, it's just, and we got some great things on the horizon coming up that we're going to put in place for our kids. And we got a couple of great kids that we're going to try to bring in here at the break that are going to change the landscape even more here. So we're excited. We're going to keep this ball rolling, and as you say, keep planting. Keep them rows straight. And
you like that terminology, Coach?
Hey, and make sure we on time with that harvest.
I know that's right. And so with that, you keep plowing and keep weeding out and growing those very vital nutrients that we need to continue to move this ship full steam ahead. Coach Sandy Pugh of Prairie View A&M University, Panthers on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Coach, I appreciate you always for making yourself available for us and our listening audience. And I want to give you an opportunity right now to have some closing thoughts and comments, and the floor is now yours.
Well, we're just going to continue to hang in here with COVID. We definitely can see the light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccine on the horizon, so we're thankful and blessed in that. Got a big game, first game of the year against McNeese State, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Hope everyone who's available in the listening audience can come out and support the ladies. I think they'll enjoy watching. They're fun to watch. They're going to do a lot of things. It's going to be fast. They're going to get up and down the court. They're going to do a lot of pressing, a lot of running. They don't hold it long. But I think they'll enjoy the brand of basketball, and come on out and support us.
Yes, ma'am. Now, I know there are going to be limitations on those who can come in. Will the game be available by way of stream?
Yes. To my knowledge, the stream will definitely be available.
Okay, and it will be on, of course, the Panther Network stream through YouTube, correct? Or is that through? Yes, it's through the YouTube. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, Coach. Well, and as I say, I got your back like a fat kid keep candy in his pocket. And we're going to keep pulling for you, and we thank you so much for joining us on today. She is Coach Sandy Pugh of the Prairie A&M University Panthers, joining us on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. As always, we want to thank you guys so much for joining in with us. Don't forget the social media handle by way of Twitter is at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network, and if you have questions, comments, or concerns about this interview or any other program that we have, dial us up at 713-570-6736. The time on the wall tells me that's all, and I must exit stage left. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, and until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.